Recently I made a culture shocks video where I listed my main culture shocks that I experienced when I moved to Russia. And then I realized, well, there's quite a few, and I made a part 2. And then, well, I started thinking again and I realized, wow, I can probably make a part 3. So here's part 3. And this video I'm actually dedicating to the Plastic Russian channel, because he's made a video kind of answering and giving a review to my culture shocks video. So we're just going to walk down this street. It's a street in a village just on the edge of Vladimir, and we're going to see old houses, new houses, and everything else in between. This one here is like an old new one. When you move to another country, for example Russia, strange things stick out because you're not used to them. One of the strange things that stuck out for me was how easy it is to purchase a house. You'll see a house advertised, you'll call the person advertising it, you go check out the house. If you like it, you sign a contract, you make sure that there's no kind of debt on the house or anything like that. That takes a couple of hours at a lawyer's or a notary. And then after that, it's really, really easy. So you'll pay a small deposit to the person selling the house, and then you'll open up a bank account in escrow. So you'll put the money inside, you and the seller both get a key. You put your documents then to the housing organization. They register the deeds in your name. You make a contract in the bank that says once the deeds are registered in your name after a certain amount of days, say 30 days, at that point you both go back, you, the buyer and the seller, to the safe, open up the safe, he gets the money, you got the house, everything's sorted. Really simple. Literally, if you had the money with you now, you could find a house for sale today, get it checked out by a lawyer, give you a deposit, and then within a month, and usually it's even sooner, the house is yours. Look at these two. Don't think anyone's living in these. And I've got a feeling there's no one here either. These two have got the American style siding on them. And next door to those, we've got a couple of really big ones as well. So this house coming up here, it looks like something that would be bought or built by a gypsy, doesn't it? I mean, who would build something like that? That's crazy. It's a bit kind of cheap looking, and at the same time it's kind of like, look at me. I'm sure it must be owned by a gypsy. And then over here we've got some construction going on. The next culture shock is about handshaking. Men shake hands. So everywhere you go, if there's someone you know, you shake the man's hand. So this is of course both a good and a bad thing. Of course it's nice to greet your friends with a handshake, or even just acquaintances with a handshake. You walk past on the street, hi, hi, yep, shake the hands. But when you go somewhere like the gym, you walk in the gym and you can be shaking 20, 30 hands, and it's a bit weird, right? And sometimes you're like, oh man, got to do the circuit of all the people you kind of half know and recognize, the handshake. Dogs, barking dogs, is got to be the worst thing that I don't like about Russia. We've got another couple of huge ones here. And then look at this, we've got a big one right behind the small one. Now, of course, the next strange thing is that men don't shake women's hands. So if you're a man, you wouldn't hold your hand out to shake a woman's hand. It wouldn't happen. Perhaps she'll put her hand out to shake yours, but generally that won't happen in Russia. And so if you're a woman, don't be offended that the man doesn't want to shake your hand. Another really nice one. Another couple of things with regards to shaking hands. We don't shake hands through doorways or through windows. We also don't shake hands with gloves on. So if you see someone you know, take off your glove and then shake their hand. The next one is an interesting one, and it's based on the difficult times that Russians have had throughout the centuries, I guess, going from the serfdom to the Russian Revolution, the time after the revolution, then the World War, the late Soviet days, the 90s. People are used to having to struggle, and so one of the things you can never do in Russia is throw away bread. So let's say you all get together with your friends, you have a barbecue, and at the end of the barbecue there's a couple of kind of half stale cobs or buns left. What do? Well, they won't get thrown away. Somebody will take them home, because it's kind of like a thing that people do in Russia. It's kind of, bread was the lifeline, and so throwing away bread would be kind of disrespectful. I guess it comes down to who's going to take it home, because it's probably going to get thrown away, but maybe just not in front of everyone. So look at this house. We've got a flag that says, "We're Russian, God is with us." And then we've got a few different things going on in the garden, a few different kind of ornaments and stuff. It's pretty cool, right? Look at all of this. Wow. These different decorations they've put up here. I've got a duck. Look at this, looks like a Soviet stove. Pretty cool. We've got some random things, don't know what this is. And then look over here, we've got a scarecrow. Archipka. What is that? What is Archipka? Someone tell me. Interesting. Interesting. Is this a post box or is it for litter? And here, look, we've got a few random things in the garden as well. Got a cat, a flamingo, and we've got a seagull. Is that over there? One thing that I really don't like, that took a lot of getting used to, and I don't think I'll ever get used to it, is the amount of mosquitoes and ticks, especially in the area where I'm building, because it's next to a forest. But if there's been a lot of rain in winter or a lot of snow and it melts, the mosquitoes can be crazy, like crazy amounts of mosquitoes. And it's not fun if you're trying to relax. If you're going camping, as soon as it gets to like, oh man, it is horrible. It is just crazy. This like American type siding seems to be really popular in this village. So the next thing that was massive when I first came to Russia like 20 odd years ago, and that's hitchhiking. In the past, you used to just stick your hand out. Sometimes a taxi would stop, sometimes just a normal guy in a car, they'd say, "Where are you going?" If they're going the same way, you kick them off a couple of dollars and that's it. They will take you. And it's really interesting. So in the past, any car will be a taxi. Sometimes you'd get a really nice car stop, sometimes a complete banger. But you wouldn't have to wait for a taxi because hitchhiking was completely normal. I'm not sure if it is as much anymore. It's so easy now to call taxis. We've got the taxi apps and all the different ways to get Uber and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's much easier now. But in the past, obviously, you'd have to call a taxi. Why call? Just stick your hand out, someone that's going that way, or take you up the road. This is an interesting style. So the next strange one is Russian men wear camouflage overalls. So if they're doing gardening, if they're fixing something, anything where you would wear overalls or perhaps old tracksuit bottoms, they wear camouflage. And so sometimes you would think that all these people are soldiers, but they're not. They're just people doing garden work or anything like that, and they're wearing camouflage. So it's very interesting to see. The next one is cleaners dress in the same kind of things that doctors would wear. And that's very strange. I remember my dad, when he came to see me, he said to me, "Is there a big hospital around here?" And I'm like, "No, the hospital's quite away from here." It's like, "Why?" because the people that were cleaning inside the shopping centre wear the kind of blue overalls like doctors wear in hospitals. We've got a guard dog here, and he's nice and quiet, aren't you, mate? Oh. The next thing is an interesting one. Russians make moonshine. It's really cool. Russians make their own alcohol, and it's called samagon. And I actually have 3 or 4 mates that make it, and one of them, he's got like a whole industrial kind of like factory thing going on at his house. So it's a really popular thing here to make home brew. In the UK, don't know if people really do it. I've never seen it before. Perhaps in America they do, but in Russia, really popular, and it can be really strong as well. And there's all types of different home drinks that people make, but samagon is typically, well, stronger than vodka, and it can be like paint stripper. Everybody says, oh, my samagon, if you drink it, you won't have a headache, or this vodka's better than the other one, you won't have a headache. That's all a lie, right? You're gonna have a headache, you're gonna feel bad the next day if you're drinking strong alcohol. The next thing is, when you drink alcohol in Russia, when the bottle is empty, you take the bottle off the table and put it under the table or on the floor. That's just like a custom. You don't leave empty bottles on the table. The next interesting one is eggs are sold in 10s, not 12. It's strange, right? Why do eggs get sold in 12 in the UK and most other places, but in Russia they get sold in 10s? If anyone knows the answer as to why this is, let me know. This is something I've talked about in the past. It's so frustrating, right? They'll probably never get moved. So the next interesting one is, in Russia we have stray dogs, and sometimes you'll see stray dogs in a pack of 10, and if you're in the middle of nowhere or walking through a forest, it can be pretty intimidating. Yeah, I've learned to try and be aggressive or to try and not care, because you have to kind of psych yourself up when you're in the middle of nowhere and there's all these stray dogs, right? Because potentially you're food. There's been a few times when I've snuck into places to film some old Soviet summer camp, and you hear a dog and you're really scared because you think it's going to be something crazy and massive, and then it turns out to be some sort of little poodle, but you don't know that. The interesting thing though about stray dogs is they know where to cross the road. And if you've seen this, if you live in Russia, it's really weird. The dog will walk to the zebra crossing, wait for the lights, and then walk over. It's really strange. Like, how do they know that? They know not to cross anywhere else. They know where the zebra crossing is, and they go and cross it like humans do. On this street, it's mainly old Russian houses. So in Russia, this means to drink, and drink alcohol, not just beer, but, you know, someone will say to you, hey, do you want to, you know, or someone will say, do you like to, it's kind of saying it without saying it. If anyone knows the reason why Russians say this, let me know in the comments. I'll be really interested to learn. And then over here we've got a massive one again. One interesting thing, especially in the past, is you'd go to a cafe or a bar, right? And in the UK, you'd go to a bar and just stand around, like in the pub. You just go buy your drink and stand around. Whereas in Russia, it's table service. So you'd go to the bar and they'd say, sorry, we don't have any places. And you'd be like, well, it's completely open. There's places everywhere we can stand. And they were like, no, it's table service. If you want to go to a bar in Russia, you have to either book a table or hope that there's going to be a table free, because if the tables are finished, there's no tables left, no places. Whereas in the UK, you can just stand around, right, and drink. You don't need to have a table. Here we've got the village school. And so we've got this here with these ribbons on it and nothing inside. Anyone knows the reason, let me know. I asked a local and they don't know. I'm guessing something's missing here. And like in every village, we've got the memorial for the people that died fighting fascism. And the final thing for today is Russian kids walk to school on their own. No parents needed. It's something that used to be normal when I was growing up, but then now in the UK you can't imagine that happening. Kids, I'm talking like 5, 6, 7 years old, are walking on their own, but obviously kids from 6 and 7 are joining schools. But it's normal to see a very small kid just walking to school on their own or walking back home. No one thinks anything of it, but it might be a culture shock for you. How incredible is this house? It's huge. It goes back an awful long way, and the balcony or the terrace is amazing. Here we've got the local park, and then we've got a little stage over there with different seating. As you can see, they probably hold the kind of like festivals and stuff there. Here we've got the village club, and you can see they do samba here. And then we've got the church, and in Russia churches are being renovated. This is kind of like the main square, I guess the bus stop here. We've got a supermarket, and we've got all the little convenience shops and stuff there. And look, even in little villages we have Rocky Boxer. Us travelling with Russell said this guy must be a millionaire or a billionaire. Over here we have the doctors, and look up on the hill there, we've got a church. Wow, look how much we've got going on at this house. It's pretty insane. That is madness. They've got so much going on there, it's even hard to put it into words, right? Look, in one sense they've got decorations, in another sense it's like they don't want to throw stuff away. Wow, that is madness. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any video suggestions, let me know in the comments. I'll try my best to make the video happen for you. The chances are that I might have already filmed something like that, because I've got quite a few videos on my channel now. Also, I've got a Telegram chat group. If you want to join the Telegram chat group, go ahead and do that. A couple of thousand members of people interested in Russia. And of course, I take free phone calls for anybody that's thinking about moving to Russia. Just go to my website, samsrussianadventures.com, and book your phone call. Okay, see you soon.